Washington Black book review. My honest opinions, my thoughts, my dislikes, my likes. So the summary of the book that I'll give to you is Washington is this slave that lives on this plantation on this island, and the slave master's brother needs somebody as a helping hand to make an invention called the Cloud Cutter, which is this ship that we see. A whole bunch of shenanigans start to go down as that happens, and Titch and Washington end up running away together, not like as a couple, but just like them running away and it kind of escaping, because something goes down to where both of them are now criminals and have a bounty on their head. And that leads into a beautiful, like, just adventure story with a lot of kind of tones and emotion and feelings towards slavery and the difference between being free and being, you know, held down by a lot of different things, whether that's your job, whether that's your past traumas, whether that's literal slavery and being, you know, owned by somebody else. It tackles a lot of those themes, which I thought was really, really cool. And one thing I love about this book is how they describe and depict everybody. Like Titch, I can just see him in my head and like kind of just imagine what he looked like in my brain. Like his crooked nose, the scar on his face, his eyes, they always talk about his fingers, and like I just thought that was super interesting because he's like this inventor that's really good, he's really handy, and I thought that was really just cool how descriptive the author was with describing each character. But that does go into something that I dislike about the book, is that there was a lot of characters throughout the adventure that were deeply detailed and had a lot of explanation. Like we'll meet like these two sailors, for example, and these sailors get their own backstory, they get their own, you know, description of how they look like, and then like a chapter later we'll never see these characters again, which it kind of just feels like the book is just trying to get filled up instead of, you know, it feels like I'm in a filler arc of the book, which is kind of not fun and like made me a little bit unmotivated to read the book a little bit like middle way through. But now that we're on the things that we don't like, another thing I don't really like is the ending of the book, which again, I'm going to get into spoilers here. The ending of the book leaves with Washington kind of walking out into this desert and kind of doing similar things, if you read the book, to Titch in Antarctica. And he kind of runs out into this desert and he's not listening to Tanya, and the book ends right there. I don't really mess with that ending. Like some things were just left unopened, like the octopus, and like it's ending, like Tanya and his relationship just feels like it was like opened and there was really no real like end or like conclusion to the relationship. And that's kind of one relationship that I adored throughout the book. I love Tanya's and Washington's relationship, and I thought it was very fun to watch, and like their interactions were just so human, and like that's something that I enjoyed, and seeing like no end to that was kind of frustrating. And Titch was kind of annoying as well. I didn't really like how he kind of just kept flip-flopping with leaving. I mean, I guess like there's like some character development there, and like you could understand why he left, and like his relationship with his father, and like the white knight kind of like stereotype and like role that he's playing. But I don't know, that was just kind of like a little unfulfilling for me. And my biggest complaint, my biggest frustration, my biggest gripe with this damn book was the cover, believe it or not. So the Cloud Cutter is obviously the main centerpiece of this book's cover, and it's what drew me into the book. And I was like, oh my god, like I love steampunk, I love that kind of theme, I love like aeronautical, like just like vehicles and planes and shit, all of that. I dig it. And when this cloud cutter gets finished being built, it literally is only here for 2 chapters, and then we're on regular ass ships for the rest of the book, which I thought was really annoying and I was really frustrated about, because I wanted to see the cloud cutter. I wanted to see these 2 characters exploring jungles and shit together on a cloud cutter, running away from like bounty hunters and bandits, because that's what the back is selling and that's what the front is selling, and I got none of that. What I got, I'm not really disappointed in. I really liked a lot of it, but again, it was just kind of deceiving with the cover and the description on the back. I don't know. All in all, though, this book is not a bad book by any means. It's really, really fun read if you like historical fiction, and if you like, you know, the history of, well, not like, but you find it fascinating of the history of slavery, and, you know, what it's like to be free, and like kind of what slaves had to undergo, and like how deep it's rooted, not only like being owned physically, but being owned mentally, and even being owned like having the feeling that your soul is being owned by another person. It is really just heart-wrenching and just like crazy that that happened in real life, and it wasn't even that long ago. So yeah, it takes you to a whole nother place that was real, which is incredibly impressive by the book. So with that and everything, all my complaints, I'm gonna have to give it 7 out of 10. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. If you want more book reviews, you're gonna have to wait, because I'm still reading and I'm still getting into books and stuff like that. But I should have a book review every single month, and yeah, that should be fun. So stay tuned. Peace.